I would like to call our meeting to order. It is 6 o'clock, and we do have a board quorum present. If you will please stand for our invocation, which I will lead, and then our pledges of allegiance, which will be led by our Brannon Elementary students. It'll be Julian Rodriguez, Summer Smith, Emma Juarez, Ryan Phillips, Jace McPherson, Camila Gonzalez, and Kayla Talbot. It'll be on our screens after we pray. Please bow your heads. Father God, we thank you for each and every day. Each and every day, Father, truly is a gift from you. I pray that you would be with our time tonight. Father, that it would be productive. And Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity to come together and to deal with the business of our district, of our community. Father, I pray that we will do our best each and every time that we're together. Just honor our time. Father, thank you for all of the men and women who serve in our schools, Father, at every position. Father, thank you most of all for our kids, and just help us to do our best, Father, to provide for them in our community. Thank you for your Son. In his name we pray, Father. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now for the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
I'd like to ask our board to begin making its way to the front as we transition into our awards, achievements, and recognitions time. I will now turn the presentation over to Mrs. Carla Chrisman.
Good evening, Superintendent Massey, Board President Howard, board members, staff, and our guests. We only have one recognition tonight, but it is a memorable one. It is now my pleasure to invite Mr. Aaron Ennis, BISD's Resource Development Coordinator, to present our recognition for this evening.
Thank you, Carla. Tonight, BISD recognizes our latest investor in BISD CTE Major Giving Campaign, the City of Lake Jackson. The City of Lake Jackson is recognized for providing over $285,000 in public education government funds and from support from 2017 through 2020. With these funds, BISD is able to provide a strong educational pathway for students interested in learning skills involving audio and visual equipment. These skills are on display with every video that is created from BISD students, with 8 campuses using audio-visual equipment provided by the City of Lake Jackson and the PEG program. The mission of the City of Lake Jackson is to be a leader among cities and the region at large in delivering outstanding quality services to all citizens through innovative and efficient use of those resources. With BISD being recognized as a District of Innovation in 2017 by the Texas Education Agency, our common goal and mission aligns fully with the City of Lake Jackson. Through this collaboration, BISD can assure that our students will graduate future ready. I believe we have a video. Tonight, BISD thanks the City of Lake Jackson for their continued support and dedication to our students, staff, and community. Here tonight to accept this recognition is Public Information Officer Laura Marie Bernard from the City of Lake Jackson, and BISD's own PEG Coordinator and Audiovisual Teacher, Mr. Glenn Rankin. I believe Mr. Bernard has a couple of words for us too, please. Did you want to say a few words? Yeah, go ahead, and then we'll have our picture.
Thank you. Thank you very much. On behalf of Mayor Gerald Rosnowski, City Manager Modesto Mundo, the City Council and staff, I'd like to thank you for recognizing our contribution. For many years, I think that our goal to see this project grow into something is finally coming to fruition, and I am more than happy to be part of it. My background is in nonprofit. I was also a veteran journalist for a long time. I've been a PIO for a school district and an education foundation director, so I understand the importance of getting the students involved, and I will tell you that when I was interviewing for this job, I first spoke about working with the students. So when Glenn and I sat down, we were, I think I can say we were like two peas in a pod, and within just a few months, I haven't even been here long enough to get my 6-month review, but we've already seen a lot of wonderful things happen. I don't think the students are here tonight.
No, we don't.
No, but I did want to point out a group of students who will be who worked on our Halloween video and will be working with us on the Festival of Lights this weekend. I wanted to recognize Abel Ordonez, Juan Pananuga, Layla Reyes, Chris Simon, Jordan Shelton, Bryn, that's right, okay, Chavez, Joycelyn Harper, and Jacob Schulke. And those are students that have jumped on board with us, and I can't be more happy to be working with Glenn. Thank you all very, very much.
Take a picture.
This concludes tonight's awards and recognitions, but we are looking forward to December as we will share more examples of BISD students and staff setting the standard in educational excellence across the state, along with honoring some community members and their support of our schools. Thank you.
At this time, in accordance with BED Local, the board will provide an audience with individuals who have signed up prior to the meeting to address the board. Tonight we have two. Mr. Atkins will serve as our timekeeper, and for those requesting to speak, please note that comments are limited to a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker with a maximum of 30 minutes total allotted for public comment. Delegations of more than 5 shall appoint a representative to present their views to the board. The board will not entertain negative comments or on individual personnel or students in public session. Patrons are encouraged to use appropriate campus and administration channels before bringing concerns to the attention of the board. And board members are not allowed to deliberate, discuss, or make decisions regarding any subject not included on the agenda that's posted. Tonight we do have two, and the first is Ms. Betty Wise, grandparent. Come to the mic, please, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi.
In light of the recent incidents that have occurred at LJI, as a taxpayer and a grandmother, I am concerned for the safety of the students. It is imperative to have prompt communication and transparency from the administration to the parents and the teachers. This communication is vital for the safety of the students and to help parents make decisions for the future of their children. And this topic should not be ignored. Furthermore, children should not have to bear the weight of rumor and innuendo of these incidents alone. Parents must be notified so they may provide their children with the counseling, advice, and wisdom. Thank you for your consideration.
second speaker is Mr. Mike Walls.
See, I'm way underdressed, so pardon me. I'm going to echo Ms. Wise's sentiments. Thank you for allowing us to address the board. In light of the recent events at LJI, as she discussed, and other school campuses in the area, I wanted to discuss the administration's communication to stakeholders. I was hoping to have an item placed on tonight's agenda, since this is the only regular forum set aside for BISD stakeholders and board members, constituents to publicly speak. Since that request was denied, I would ask that BISD review and/or craft a mass communication policy that spells out how the district intends to communicate to all stakeholders when serious incidents that threaten student safety or staff safety arise. It's my firm belief that prompt communication from the district can help elicit further communication at home when these types of incidents occur. This ongoing communication within the community and at home will help empower people to come forward if and when they perceive a threat. It will empower our children to be more aware of concerning behavior, and it will help further dialogue within the community at large about steps we can take, even outside campus walls, to aid in prevention as well. My gravest concern is that these kinds of incidents could potentially fly under the radar within our community until it is too late, such as today's school shooting that happened in Colorado. That's my biggest concern. I think it's worth having these tough conversations now as a community to help avoid tragedy further down the line. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. The next item that we have on our agenda is our consent agenda. Are there any items requested to be pulled from the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right. It has been moved by Mr. Atkins, seconded by Mr. Dunn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, that carries. Thank you. Then the next thing we have on our agenda are our action items. Public comments will be allowed before vote is taken on each of the action items. The first item under action is 7A, the Innovative Course Renewal Application. Mr. Brian Cole.
Good evening. In accordance with Board Policy EH Local and Brazosport ISD Goal 1, Brazosport ISD will provide a rigorous and relevant learning experience to ensure that every student will be future ready. I am pleased to present approval for an application for the renewal of an innovative course. Innovative courses allow districts to offer state-approved courses for credit to enable students to master knowledge, skills, and competencies that are not included in the essential knowledge and skills of the required curriculum for the state. Brazosport ISD has previously submitted applications and renewals for a course by the name of College Transitions. College Transition is used by our district as a dual credit course for state elective credit tied to learning frameworks with Brazosport College. This course is designed to support students in their transition from high school to college. The application for renewal is included in Board Book. The course is now used across the state of Texas with an enrollment of over 10,000 students per year. Once again, this innovative course originated with our district. Brazosport ISD, in Brazosport ISD, we see success not only demonstrated through the stories of individuals who are successfully transitioning to dual credit, but in the percentage of our graduates achieving the dual credit indicator for college, career, and military readiness. We have a tradition of exceeding the state and region in this indicator. The administration recommends that the board approve the application for the renewal of college transition as an innovative course for submission to the Texas Education Agency. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, before we vote, any comments or questions from the audience? All right, hearing none, it's been moved by Mr. Schwartner and seconded All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that carries. Thank you, Nicole. Next item we have on our agenda is employee retention and appreciation stipend. Ms. Kirshner, probably the most popular person in the room.
Good evening, Superintendent Massey, President Howard, and board members. In alignment with Board Policy CE Local and CE Legal and Board Goal 5, BISD will recruit, develop, and retain highly effective staff. It is my pleasure to present to you tonight regarding proposed retention and appreciation stipend for BISD employees. The Texas Education Code allows the District Board of Trustees the ability to amend previously approved budget, and the board-approved compensation plan also allows for the Board of Trustees to review and modify stipends and incentives periodically dependent on available funding. There's a public purpose served and a benefit to Brazosport ISD to seek to retain employees, increase morale, and help employees focus on work they perform during the disruption of the continued COVID-19 challenges. It is important to recognize the efforts of the ISD employees, what they have made to ensure the success of our students in these unprecedented times. We value our employees' commitment to the district and recognize the tremendous effort it takes to work through the current time and future challenges that we still have facing us through the remainder of the year. Brazosport ISD administration recommends a stipend in the amount of $1,200 per full-time equivalent employee to be paid to eligible employees. $2,350,000 has been reserved in our ESSER grant application to cover the proposed retention stipend. To be eligible for the employee retention and appreciation stipend, which we will pay in December 15, 2021, employees must meet the following requirements: be a regular full-time employee and have a current hire date on or before November 1st of 2021. Employees must continue their employment through the remainder of the 21-22 school year. The stipend will not be prorated if both of those items are not met. At this time, I'm excited to present the recommendation on behalf of administration, and that is that you all approve the employee retention and appreciation stipend in the amount of $1,200 as presented. And I will be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? From the audience? Patty? All right, it's been moved by Patty and seconded by Ms. Cuellar. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, that passes.
Thank you.
Good Christmas. Next item that we have under action item is C, the resolution to vote for the candidate for the Board of Directors of Missouri County Appraisal District. Kelly?
Good evening. In accordance with Board Policy CCH Legal, the Board of Trustees is entitled to vote for the Appraisal District Board of Directors. Board members serve 2-year terms. On September 20th, the BISD Board of Trustees nominated Ms. Gail Robinson. Ms. Robinson is the current BCAB board member with 4 terms of tenure. Her prior service on the board and her experience as a realtor in our community made her an obvious choice for our nomination. Administration has received the certification from Al Baird, who is the Chief Appraiser for the Brazoria County Appraisal District, and we are entitled to 1,292 votes for the 5 candidates to be elected. Administration recommends that the Board of Trustees cast the district's 1,292 votes for Ms. Gail Robinson. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the board? From the audience?
Motion to recommend the Board of Trustees cast our 1,292 votes for Gail Robinson.
All right, it's been moved by Jerry. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Schwartner. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay? All right, that carries as well, thank you.
She liked it.
Next item that we have on our, on our agenda is the redistricting for board single-member districts. Continuation, Ms. Kelly.
So tonight, we're going to recap the census data, the change analysis, review the redistricting criteria, and a single proposed map, and then we'll close on the timeline and kind of what our next steps are. So presented here is, for your reference, is a copy of the current single-member district map. I've also placed a copy at each of your stations as well for your reference. The small one is the current map, and then you have a larger copy that is the proposed map that we will be reviewing tonight. These are the census groups populations that are measured, the total population, the voting age population, and then the citizens voting age population. These were all previously reviewed in detail with the legal counsel here. So just a recap. The census change analysis is based on the 2010 census data and the most recent current 2020 census data. The Brazosport ISD population, as reported in that census, has increased by 1,393 persons. We have a total district population of just over 62,000, and redistricting is required as the total population difference between the least populous single-member district and the largest is greater than 10%. Ours is currently 48%. So we have to redistrict in order to get that variance down below the 10%. The proposed map that we will review today does get that underneath the 10%, as well as consider other redistricting criteria. The largest and single will be under the 10% variance. The proposed maps include contiguous and more identifiable natural boundaries that keep the neighborhoods and city boundaries better aligned, and that it also avoids the retrogression of minority voting rights. So these are the two maps. The map on the left is the current map, and the map on the right is the proposed map. I know we tried really hard to get District 7 from wrapping all the way around, but unfortunately we were not able to do that, and keep single-member District 4 an opportunity district. And so we looked at it, or I've looked at it multiple ways to try to get that balance within the 10% and keeping 4 as an opportunity district. And 4 needed more of Freeport in order to get Jones Creek with the ethnicity of the 3,000 members in the heart of Jones Creek. We just couldn't go far enough into Freeport. So this is the proposed map that we're going to review. This is kind of a zoomed-in version of that map, and the red circles on the proposed map kind of highlight the big areas of change, and then we're going to zoom in and look at them a little closer up as we move through. So the black line on this map, let's see if I can get this to work. This right here is the current boundary of single-member District 1. And so you can see this blue area here is single-member District 7, and it now comes all the way up into the Brazos River line, which is a natural boundary line. And so this area will move from 1 to 7. And then the second change is right here around the Lake Jackson subdivision near Roberts Elementary. That is currently zoned for single-member District 3, and it will now be part of single-member District 1. And then there's a small section north of Oyster Creek that was one street, and you see it here. This one little street right there is on the north side of Oyster Creek, and so we'll rebalance that and make that part of single-member District 6. So everything north of Oyster Creek will now be part of single-member District 6.
All those kids south of the Brazos River are zoned Jones Creek anyway, correct?
Correct.
All right.
So that's that
More
County
lines in,
304
yeah.
area.
Natural boundary plus
Natural boundary.
school zone as well.
Yeah, city, but yeah,
City.
yes. The next area of change is within District 2, and we've got several things. We've got, this is the College Park subdivision, and this black line is the current map for single-member District 5. And so College Park is currently in 5, and we're proposing that it is consolidated now with single-member District 2. So it's kind of squared off, it's contiguous, and then again, it follows the city line. College Park is Clute. The second one is this area on the east side of Dixie Drive, so this is Dixie Drive. And so that is the Woodshore Subdivision. Brazos Wood High School is right in here, and then this is Plantation Drive. And so right now, that whole area is part of District 3, and so we're proposing with this change that it will now be combined as part of District 2. And then we've talked about this one right here, which is the, this is the one right here where around Roberts. So this is Flag Lake Drive, I think that's Flag Lake Drive, and kind of the Garland area. It is currently part of 3, but it is a Lake Jackson area, so it will be combined with 3 now.
Yeah, actually, it was 2.
2, now it's 3, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Again, dividing it along
The
City of Clute, City of
Correct.
Lake Jackson boundary, natural boundary.
Correct. And then this area at the bottom is kind of south of 332, that's all an industrial area. There's actually not any population out there, but as that's a main highway, it made sense to go ahead and combine this with District 7. So 7 was that one that wrapped all the way around.
Just in case Deb starts building houses.
And then I left this up just so you could see how the 2 is kind of reshaped, but then this area on the east side of Business 288 will get redistricted. It was part of 2, this is part of 2, and it will now get split between 5 and 7. So here it is a little closer. So this is currently the black line for 5, this is currently the line for 3, and so everything out here will be purple, will go to 5, and blue will go to 7. This is Stratton, the dividing line is Stratton Ridge Road and then the Levee Road. And then there was I forget what the street name is. Hackberry.
Which is the biggest change from our last meeting, correct?
Yeah. So, this is north of Oyster Creek Drive. So you have Oyster Creek right here. This is Willow Drive, so the area right here between Willow Drive and Yukon is going to have some changes. Currently, that whole area is part of Member District 5, and this little part right here, also north of Oyster Creek, is part of 3. 3. So we're going to redivide that. So everything purple here will be part of 3, and then everything on the left side of Yopon will be combined with 6. And then this area right here is kind of behind Family Fitness, will be changed from 5 to 6. And so just kind of leveling that out with Oyster Creek as the natural barrier, and then Yopon and Willow Drive. And then in Freeport, we have some changes. The main road coming in right here is Brazos Boulevard 332. This is that intersection right here between Business 288 and 332. And so that's kind of a natural point. Everything to the left side of Brazos Boulevard will be combined with 7, and then it'll follow on down into town, and you get down here, and it'll reconfigure this little area right here. Some of it was part of 7, and some of it was part of 4. In order to keep this an opportunity district, we had to kind of reconfigure to keep the percentages where we need them to be. But then it realigns down with Highway 36, and then on into Surfside, and then back up to 332 right here. This kind of did a funny little recess, and so we straightened that out in the proposed map. This is kind of in that Freeport FIS area. That's kind of the way you see it. Kind of had these weird black lines again, are the current maps, and so we just kind of squared this off. And so it combines as much of this neighborhood as we could possibly get.
That goes to 7, right?
It goes So the green part will be what's in 4, and this blue part will be what goes to 7. Some of that was already in 7. So you actually, District 4 will actually get a little bit more in this green area that was previously in 7. These are the demographic numbers that make up the maps that are being proposed. I'll highlight that by total population, District 2 and District 4 stay over majority 50% Hispanic, and then the single-member District 4 remains the opportunity district with 62.1% citizens voting age population Hispanic. And so this was kind of the timeline we've been working with. Obviously tonight is November 15th, where we're reviewing this information and the proposed map. This is the second public meeting where we have had discussion on the redistricting process. And tonight we will recommend that the Board of Trustees approve the maps and set the public hearing date for December 7th, and directs the superintendent to post the proposed map on the website for the public to review and make comments on. And again, that December 7th date is when we will solicit formal public input, and then the board would approve the criteria and adopt the final map on December 13th as a regular board meeting. The election is May 7th of 2022, and the first day to file for a place on the ballot would be January 19th. So these proposed maps would go into effect for the May election. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? Yes, sir.
I know we've seen the original numbers out there, I can probably pull it together, but can you see the differences between, this District 1, that top section that you have, that top, can you show us before and after on the slide? Just email it to me.
Okay, yes, I can
know,
email
but-
that.
Oh, you got it already? But, yeah, I just wanted to see the, I don't think there was too big a change between largest and smallest and things like that, but
Yeah, it was.
from which one went to largest?
I went from smallest to largest.
Yeah,
Or did you?
because of with the addition of College Park
Yeah.
and Woodshore.
Which more along line, the city,
Yes.
the actual city that you're in, which makes sense.
That's why you had to get
As well.
Yeah, and 2 was previously the smallest, and
And
now
this-
it's the largest, and 4 is now the smallest.
And the score was good.
Yeah, if I could just see those differences, it'd be good to see it pre and post. Do I? Yeah, he's going big time then.
I'm not sure.
Do we, I don't think this was considered at all, but do we have any, I know we've done some future demography work for, is that included, was any of that included as far as looking at where growth areas could be and how that could affect us going
Yeah,
forward?
part of that report that we get every year does include residential development
Mhm.
and the areas that are permitted and possibly future permitted for vacant lots that are available to build on that are zoned residential, some that are currently under construction, and so yes, that is included in the information that we look at. Usually when we look at that, we're looking for student
Yeah.
growth, not total population, not voting population.
Right.
But we could pull some information from that.
I just wanted to see, it would be interesting to see how, I mean, clearly north of Lake Jackson would be the biggest one that would change.
So College
Things
Park was
significantly.
on there for a few
Yeah.
years as the development has expanded into phase 4 and 5. The neighborhood, kind of back behind Audubon Woods,
Yeah.
kind of this Lake Jackson was
Big
on
set
there, but
there.
it's almost fully, that
Yeah.
neighborhood is almost fully complete. College Park has 1 phase left, and then the Oakwood Shores out in Richwood,
Yeah.
is on our report, and then the neighborhood in Lake Jackson just south of the airport.
Yeah.
So
And
those-
Northwood, I think, just filed a new plot too.
Yeah,
as well.
and the district sold that 16
Yeah.
acres to them as well, so.
Regardless, nothing would have to be done till the next census, right?
Correct, correct. And so we haven't received this year's report. We usually get it November, December, so it should be coming.
But I think we give ourselves a decent, like I said, because I dropped down my district significantly, so we give us a little play there, I guess. Best way to put that for the next 10 years from now, whenever none of us are here, but doing it. But anyways, interesting.
Jerry?
So, we still don't have any data for 2023
so we went back and looked through what we had to file to get approval with the state, and they were hoping it would be in there, and it was not included or calculated at that time. And so they've run some pretty complicated formulas to try to project what it would have been, which is what the 62.1% for District 4. Their benchmark for that was well over 60%. So we were trying to keep that one at least in the 60% mark so that it would remain an opportunity district.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, because I don't know what it was before.
Yeah.
And District 2 is the next highest, and it's well under 50. So,
Yeah. Their best calculation was that District 4 was well over 60%, and then District 2 was just over 50%. So District 2 does drop to 42.9% citizens voting age population, but total population remains predominantly Hispanic. And then also to note that the position 2, has not been filled by Hispanic since 1997.
I'm not sure the Justice Department cares about that. Yeah. Having been through one war, I don't think they care about it.
Yeah, the attorney would argue that the opportunity has been there historically, and if it wasn't acted on, then, it doesn't make a difference. And so we do have a statistician from Rice University reviewing prior election results. Unfortunately, I don't have them tonight, but the attorney is comfortable with us proceeding as is if it was ever challenged.
Well, we tried that once, it didn't work.
Right.
This is hard, just saying that. I guess the thing on District 2 is the squirreliness above, out at Stratton Ridge and along Oyster Creek. It appears like that was done in 2010 to enable the contiguous to go to Oyster Creek for District 5. So I guess my concern is that now, with the city boundaries of Clute, there's going to be three different board members who represent citizens of Clute and somewhat attendance in Clute, but also Richwood. So that's the only thing is that, and I don't know this, there's quite a few people out there, so it could add up. I guess that's the only concern I have, as far as, I think in general, and especially in District 2, the squaring up is good. It finally gets, because the little part in Lake Jackson, you couldn't get there from Clute. You had to go to Lake Jackson and then go to that, whatever the little streets were. So that makes good sense, and along with the Flag Lake, and of course, I really think, I honestly think that College Park and Wood Shore was missed in 2010, but that's under the water, water under the bridge. So I guess the only concern I have is well, let me ask another question. What's the one out 2004? Is that the Oakwood?
Oakwood Shore, sure.
Yeah. Is that on the map?
It is.
Okay. That's okay. Very confusing. Where would that be? Right there in the corner?
Yeah. I'm trying to get my pointer to,
This circle is fine.
like way out here.
Okay, on the new one?
Yeah.
Off 2004 there.
Yeah, it's included. I will say the very last street that's in that neighborhood, the north side of it is zoned to Angleton. So it goes all the way to where it becomes Angleton ISD.
So how far north does the ISD go? 3 Bridges?
I didn't study that area a whole lot, so I don't.
I mean, I think Angleton
It's right there at the bayou there.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking.
You
So I
may be able
guess
to see it on your Zoom map.
Again, the only concern I have is along the Worcester Creek there,
Yeah.
out Kyle Road.
Honestly, I don't like it either, and I've spent a lot of time kind of messing with those lines, but that's a pretty populated area back there. And so the only way to kind of clean that up would be for District 5 to lose a significant portion of Lake Jackson because it is so populated. Like even adding this one little block put District 5, created a larger than 10% variance. And so that's why this kind of even looks like it does. I tried to stay along Levy Road and then Stratton Ridge Road. But again, with the population out there, you would significantly impact District 5's current makeup and support in Lake Jackson, and current member lives in Lake Jackson, so we want to try to maintain that and/or, remove College Park, from the district to where we were trying to square that up. So that was a challenging area, for sure. But one, I spent a lot of time, moving the lines to try to make it look a little cleaner than what we currently have and what, this is.
Would, well, it'd be the same thing, would it be possible that's District 4, right? The light green,
The green.
Yeah.
Yes.
which now takes east to 288B.
The
Yeah,
blue,
I don't
the
think
blue,
we
the
can
blue
answer
is
that one.
7, yeah.
Seven,
This
oh.
is 4.
Okay, 7, I'm sorry. Yeah, so,
And we could have kept, we could have kept this, some of this as part of 2, but then 4 would have had to come also into Clute,
yeah.
to offset that.
And 7's got a pretty high number, and 5 is a little bit lower. So is this about 9.2% spread?
And yeah, it's under 10, it's in the 9s. Is it 9.3, I think?
It's barely.
9.3, yeah.
You don't get any extra points.
Just has to be under 10, it could be 9.9.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We don't get extra points for being 8 versus 9.9. I didn't know we were looking at that, but I guess that's okay. Yeah, I guess,
How far does Clute come up there?
Clute,
On that
District 2,
west side there?
that's,
It goes-
Oyster Creek,
Does it go all the way up to your current zone there? Where's that? College Drive?
that's College
yeah,
Drive,
College Drive.
It comes across there
to Dixie.
somewhere?
Well,
Or does Clute go all the way up into, on 288B there, on the west side of 288B?
No, it's Richwood.
That's what
That's Richwood.
Yeah, so that's the break of the city.
So where it turns from purple to blue is the break of the city? From Richwood? Clute?
No, the city boundaries aren't on there.
I know, but
So I did actually overlay those, but
It's a mess.
yes, sir.
I understand, I tried that myself.
Yeah, I've got a
I
copy
didn't do it
that,
electronically either.
yeah, I would be happy to print for you, but,
But your concern is less purple and more, are we calling that blue? What are we calling that?
yeah, I think his
Light blue?
concern is that it had
Blue is
3.
more the area you're talking about, correct?
Well,
That ridge area?
I think more the fact that there's, citizens of Clute who go to vote, they're gonna find out that they're not in 2, they're in 4, they could be in 7.
Well,
And that
that's
creates
the problem,
a lot of
because there's 4 different districts for Lake Jackson, 5 districts.
Well, yeah, but it's more, yeah, I understand that, but, you got 28,000, 30,000 versus
Yeah,
9.
I understand, but
It just lended confusion 5 or 6 years ago, as far as, especially because it's such a small strip. And again, I know the strip was contiguous to get to Oyster Creek at that point, but now we're looking at numbers. Because District 7 is high and District 5 is a little lower, so. Okay, that's my question.
I don't even know where you would go to balance it at that point.
That's what I was looking at, the numbers that we got last week throughout the window, so we just got these, so that's what I was trying to look at.
Because you'd have to cut off your whole east side of your current district and go, put Wood Shore and Beewood area back into either 5 or 3,
Yeah. Well,
which
I
takes us back to where we were.
I was just looking at squaring up and, that's a neighborhood, Kyle Road, Levy Road is really a neighborhood.
It is.
And so we're looking at
Yeah.
not putting that in a food representative, but again, looking at the numbers, I'm not sure there's a better way, like you say. I'll look at them some more between now and the next day or 2, just to make sure, but I don't have a good solution at this point, because I just got the numbers, but I'll take a look. Okay.
Overall, we do make things a lot cleaner.
Oh, heck, yeah.
We get rid of a lot of peninsulas and jagged lines and,
No, this is more of a.
except for maybe there in your kind of east, western zone of your district, it gets changed a little bit.
Yeah, this
Even
is
Mason.
more squared up district, it's
Yeah,
a lot
100%.
better, it's a lot better than it was, I'm not sure.
Especially, is Reinhardt 1? Yeah,
Yeah.
Reinhardt, Lake Jackson 1, that one didn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, we're going through,
Pulling it up off the river makes a lot of sense, and then, natural boundary of, for me and him, obviously, is Oyster Creek Road, Drive, so that helps, I think, too, as well. And then it makes Patty's current District 3 a lot cleaner, too, as well. She she was all over the map, literally. So, yeah, I think we're close, for sure.
Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
From the audience? Sir?
Quick question.
Come on up to the podium if you don't mind, Mr. Moore.
Oh,
Thank you.
it's a quick one.
Yeah, that's okay.
The meetings are recorded, so we just
Oh,
want to make sure you
yeah.
talk
Yeah,
into
I'm
the
here for
mic.
one second question.
Yeah, go for it.
That's okay.
I was just, what does the term opportunity zone mean?
Provides the, so the, Hispanic population the majority voting power, so that it ensures that they have the voting strength,
Okay,
within that district.
okay.
We
So we
can't
wanna
adjust the
maintain it.
percentages within a district to lower or raise.
To lower, that's that regression.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right, that's what I assumed,
Yeah.
but I wasn't quite sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It limits our ability to move lines within
Right.
the district because of the current percentage
Right.
Of that district.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
You want a good definition, get the, what's the other one, voting age? That's a good one. Look at that one. Research that one for a little bit. It's a good one.
Mason, it is an action item, so I do have a recommendation. I apologize, I don't have a recommendation slide. But administration recommend, we don't have to approve the maps, but we do want to have the maps posted by Friday, and then we want the board to approve setting the public hearing for December 7th. And so that will be a special meeting, and the district will post these maps on the website by Friday to give give the community enough time to provide input, ask questions, provide input.
And the 7th will also be a public hearing too
Correct.
as well.
So,
But we're okay with the map, are you, Jerry?
well, Jerry had a couple questions, and we can approve them and then make changes to them. The approval actually happens at the regular board meeting in December. So really, I just need y'all to approve to set the public hearing date and direct Mr. Massey to post them.
So based on all the
Proposed
information
map.
that we
How
have,
about that?
Proposed map.
Proposed map.
so do I have a motion to approve the proposed map as it is presented this evening?
And set the
And
meeting.
the public
And
hearing.
set the meeting,
I'll,
for our
Sorry.
normal December.
okay, move for approval.
I'll
All right.
second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Fortner, seconded by Ms. Sayes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed by nay. All right, that carries. Grateful we only do this every 10 years.
Sorry.
Can I get a clarification?
Huh?
You guys, post the map on Friday?
Friday.
Right.
Friday.
Oh, that was 17.
Just real quick too, I want to thank Rebecca for all she's done too on that. She's put in a lot of effort that wasn't necessarily.
And Ms. Rosenbaum.
Yeah, that wasn't necessarily your role in the initial deal, but we appreciate all y'all done to help with that process.
Yeah, exactly, because
The initial maps presented by our representation were not less than stellar.
I'll keep quiet.
I'll put it on record.
All right,
Yes, I would definitely agree with you.
Yeah. We're a lot further along than we were, for sure, because of your efforts.
next item that we have on our agenda are reports. Our first report is our curriculum-based assessment report, our CBAs.
Oh, sorry, I put it in my pocket.
This will go a lot quicker with a clicker. Good evening. In accordance with Board Policy EH Local and District Goal, Brazosport ISD will provide a rigorous and relevant learning experience to ensure that every student will be future ready. It is my pleasure to present a report on our fall curriculum-based assessments. At the district level, curriculum-based assessments, or CBAs, indicate relative performance of campuses and classrooms. They provide us with the needed information to study and replicate best practices across the district and mobilize resources to support areas for growth in classrooms across the district. CBAs assess only a portion of the scope and sequence. These assessments are subject to change each year as we work collaboratively with our teachers to amend the scope and sequence along with the questions on assessment each year. The data from CBAs, or curriculum-based assessments, is best used to determine the needs of this year's classrooms on this year's scope and sequence. CBAs are designed to maintain the level of rigor of the state standards and the applicable STAR exams. Questions are selected to align to the rigor of those state standards and the STAR test. Thus, the passing standard that is used by the state is also used as a minimum threshold for passing for our CBAs. As we design CBAs, questions are selected from multiple banks, then aligned to the calendar so that only items that should have been taught are tested. Teachers are provided time to vet each of the CBAs, then blueprints and guidelines for testing are provided. Additionally, this year, we sought feedback from each teacher providing a CBA to find out what went well and what could be improved. We use this data to improve our CBAs as we move forward. Results have already been analyzed by teachers, campuses, and district teams with a focus on what the results mean, why they are important, and what we can do about it now. At the district level, we work to respond to curriculum-based assessments by identifying high and low-performing classrooms. We work throughout the year to visit classrooms, to dig deeper into what the data says as we work to identify those best practices and replicate them across classrooms to ensure that all of our students are learning at high levels. Now let me walk you through the data tables you're about to see. At the elementary level, campuses are arranged horizontally. Then you'll see 5 rows below each campus. The first row tells you the percent of students that passed the CBA last year, and the third row tells you the percent of students that passed the CBA this year. In green, you will see how campuses did compared to the district average, for both this year and last year. This allows us to identify certain campuses that are excelling in particular curricular areas for further exploration, or campuses that may need additional support. The final row allows us to see how a campus has gained or lost ground compared to the district between this year and last year. This gives us an idea on which campuses have seen significant growths or declines between this year and last year. At the secondary level, you will see the same information, only this time the campuses are arranged vertically rather than horizontally. As we look at third grade math, we will see that Griffith and Boydell Elementary made significant improvements over last year, which is in the bottom column, the bottom row. While Austin and Ogg have both shown declines. Campus administrators, content, and instructional support are already present at campuses that have shown a decline. You'll also notice that students that are part of our virtual academy are included in the results in the column next to the district at the end. As we look at fourth grade math, again, there's a significant decline at Austin Elementary, while the remainder of campuses remained relatively constant in their performance. In fifth grade, you'll also notice that Ogg Elementary is included, and this represents the gifted and talented academy students that are at Ogg Elementary. Additionally, we do see a significant decline at Clute Intermediate in fifth grade math. Once again, our campus administrators and support staff are working closely with the team at Clute. In sixth grade math, most campuses are within 5 points of the district average, while Austin saw a significant decline. It is important to note that they are only 2 points below the district average. In seventh grade math, there do not appear to be any significant changes compared to last year. However, in eighth grade math, we saw that Freeport Intermediate took the lead with student performance, as well as a decline of nearly 9 percentage points was observed at Clute Intermediate. Most campuses, however, do remain fairly close to the district average. For Algebra 1, Brazos-Port High School clearly leads our 2 traditional high schools. Our intermediates here reflect students who choose to take Algebra 1 in the 8th grade. As we take a closer look at the key strengths of math, problem solving is a key element in math classrooms across the district. Students are being exposed to those rigorous math problems that help to prepare them for the rigor of multiple tests that they'll face in their future. We are pleased to see that some areas of improvement from last year are now listed as areas of strength for our math classes and students. We are still seeing students with many learning gaps, so we're continuing to ensure that supporting standards are being scaffolded in during instruction. We're also supporting students as we tutor them through small groups. The challenge students across the district are struggling with is multi-step problems, which continues to be supported with our district problem-solving model known as WITS. In 5th grade science, Clute Intermediate saw a significant pickup from last year when compared to the district average. However, Lanier still remains significantly below the remainder of our campuses. As we explore 8th grade science, we saw a decline at Clute Intermediate compared to last year. Once again, campus principals and support staff are working to ensure that the needs of our students are being met. At the high school level in biology, we do not see any significant changes for our traditional campuses. Teachers are having students create and reference word walls throughout their units of study. We find this as a strength in science that helps students recognize the important vocabulary they're learning. Teachers are utilizing strategies to help students think critically about the science they are learning. And during professional learning communities, teachers are making persistent use of our frameworks for planning that provides consistency. The key areas for improvement in 5th grade science are ensuring that students are learning and building their process skills or their thinking skills throughout every lesson. In 8th grade, we are continuing to provide support for our new teachers that have joined Brazosport ISD. As we transition to elementary reading language arts, Griffith and Ogg saw significant increases over prior year performance, while Polk Elementary saw a decline. It's important to note as well that the gap is widening at Velasco Elementary. Campus principals continue to work with their teams and district support to ensure that all students are learning at high levels as we move forward throughout the year. As we move to 4th grade, declines at Ogg, Austin, and Brandon are apparent. Though the change in difference shows decline, I want to point out that Brandon Elementary does still remain 7 percentage points higher than the district average. In 5th grade, Lanier student performance has taken a dip, while Rasco is showing a slight improvement. Austin dipped but still remains above the district average. In 6th grade reading, we see a decline at Lanier, while Clute and Austin showed increase compared to the district average. In 7th grade, reading language arts, we saw a significant increase at Clute Intermediate, while Lake Jackson Intermediate showed a decline. Most of our campuses here are very close to the district average. In 8th grade, we see a similar trend. Results increased at Clute Intermediate while they're down at Lake Jackson Intermediate, and most of our campuses did remain close to the district average. In English 1, we see Brazosport High School has shown a significant increase when compared to the district average, while Brazos Wood has seen a decline. In English 2, most of our campuses are very close to the district average, and once again, we see increases at Brazosport High School. The strengths that we see across the district in English language arts fall into the oral language and comprehension strands of our state standards. The standards represented by these strengths are repeated in multiple grade levels and are the basis for the more difficult tasks of analyzing and synthesizing. The difficulty changes as students apply these skills to more complex texts in each grade level. In elementary, students are being supported with foundational skills in order to read fluently at grade level. Consistent guided reading will support growth of foundational reading skills. We know that comprehension gradually increases with the student's ability to read fluently and with continued practice. Across all grade levels, students struggle with connecting the individual author's moves, such as organization, literary elements, and language, with meaning, such as tone, theme, mood, and voice. This is the highest level of analysis and continues to grow in complexity as learners grow. It continues to be a focus as part of our Tier 1 instructional priorities through both mini lessons and student responses to the things that they are reading and writing. As we transition to social studies, our 8th grade campuses see strong performance at Freeport and Lake Jackson Intermediate, while the gap has widened at Clute Intermediate. And then as we shift to high school and social studies, United States history, Brazoswood continues to lead the pack, while most campuses remain fairly close to the district average. In social studies, there is strong evidence of our Tier 1 instructional priorities in our high-performing classrooms. Faculty are using color-coded timelines in classrooms to support student success with identifying different historical eras, and have seen strong student performance in certain targeted areas that are listed in this slide. The concepts you see on this slide were challenges for our students and will continue to be filed throughout the year to ensure that students can master them. The ultimate purpose of collecting this data is so that we can take action to ensure that all students in all classrooms are learning at high levels, as we replicate best practices and come along to support in areas of need. That work is well underway. This information is report only, and at this time I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the board?
Few slides.
Sir.
Few slides.
Any questions from the audience? All right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. So, when is our next round? January?
Our next round of CBAs occurs depending on the level, it is right before Christmas, and there are some in February. So just kind of depends on the level and when state testing occurs.
This is the first round, though.
This is the first round.
Other
yes.
than the initial testing of it.
All right.
Oh, I do have another dumb question. Got another dumb question. So, how is the pass rate determined for 2021?
So the pass rate, we base the pass rates for CBAs on the state pass rate for the STAR. So the questions and the standards and the rigor of our expectations matches that of the state standards upon which the STAR test is set. So though the pass rates are different for every grade level and subject,
Right.
and once again, the state sets those pass rates for the STAR test, and that's what we use for our CBAs.
So, but the 2021 rate is from the state?
So,
From last year?
for the CBAs that we administer this fall, yes, we base it off of the pass rate.
Right.
Those pass rates don't change much once they're set. So we use the state thresholds
So
as our thresholds.
we're kind of comparing this year's data with last year's something.
Somewhat, yes, sir.
All right, I'm good.
All right, we're done.
Thank you.
Next report that we have is our bond planning and construction update. Jornay?
Always good.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
Good evening. In accordance with Board Policy CV Local, it is my pleasure to present the 2014 and 2019 Bond Programs Planning and Construction Update. For 2014 bonds, we are 83.91% completed or in progress, and for 2019, we are 65.56% completed or in progress. This slide shows the current bond project timelines. And this slide shows the current bond projects. We still have summer of '21 projects on this slide, and the only thing left on those is the Freeport Intermediate football field, which is almost complete. This slide is a current overhead view of the Brazos Wood High School complex. And this is the new front entry to the school, and I'm proud to say that we are still on schedule. And this is the view coming from the field house towards the outdoor dining area and the outdoor art area. And then this is a closer view where you can see immediately to the right is the outdoor art area, and then all of that area to the left is outdoor dining. And there will be covered canopies over towards the left. And this is a view of the front of the building at the entrance nearest the library and the art complex. And then this is over at the main entry to the new auditorium. This is inside as you go into the outdoor dining area to the indoor dining, and the serving lines are over to the left. And then this is a view at the far end of the dining commons looking towards the student hallway, the main street hallway to the left, and then over towards the administration area and the front entry to the right. And this is looking, back from that same area, looking towards the entrance to that, exterior dining area. This is the front entry to the school with the, reception desk and the office area to the left. And then this is looking from the front doors, looking at the main stairway, and your administration and office areas over to the right. This is a typical restroom showing the finishes and tile work that are on the walls, and the fixtures are installed and the flooring's already in place. This is the lobby area of the new auditorium, and then the entrance to the auditorium has ramps and stairways on both sides. And this is the orchestra hall with the practice rooms over to the left. And this is the band lobby with their practice rooms over to the left. And this is the fine arts area with their overhead door that looks out towards the main parking lot. And this is looking from the second floor at the overhead walkway that looks down into the dining commons. This is one of the typical science classrooms. And this is the going in towards the library area. You can see the wood finishes that are on the ceiling, and this is looking towards the librarian's office. At our new Technology and Resource Center, this is the new parking lot addition that has been added on the Brazos Wood side of the building. This is at the front entrance where the restrooms have been added over to the right. And this is the typical tile that is on the restroom walls. This is the corridor with the technology offices on the left and the police department on the right. The corridor is wider than it looks in this picture, by the way.
Yeah, it should be sideways.
This is the main conference room, and is also the command center during certain events. It's a very large room, should be very adequate. This is the new Brazos Wood tennis building, and it is nearing completion. It doesn't look like it, but it is. Everything's on schedule on these athletic complexes.
Is that lot getting paved there, in front of that?
Yes, sir. But this is walking through the center of the building with restrooms, not restrooms, the locker rooms and the coach's offices over on the left. This is one of the restroom facilities inside, or locker rooms, I should say. This is over at the Brazos Wood baseball where we added on, and this is looking from the field side. This is inside the locker room area, and then this is where the lockers will be. Over at Brazos Wood softball, this is the new field house that also includes the concession stand and public restrooms. And this is inside from the concession stand looking out. And this is one of the restrooms. These buildings don't look very far along, but they're concrete blocks, so all they have to do is paint them and get the ceilings in, and so we'll be well on our way. This is looking out from the field towards the new bleachers. This is the bleachers where you can see the wings that were put on both sides, and on the right-hand side is where the ramps and the stairs are. The press boxes should be in sometime in December. They have been drastically delayed. And but they will be in time. Fortunately, they can be installed without holding up any other work. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah.
That's good.
Timing and resource,
Sir?
technology, resource, timing?
That is scheduled to be finished at the end of January or beginning of February, I should say.
We're gonna move in during the year?
During February. The generator was delayed, and it is scheduled to be in, and we'll move in as soon as that comes in.
We're also working through some ATT challenges as well, so we'll get it all going. But
Tell me what better service inside our schools do. Yeah, it looks really good.
From the audience?
Great job.
It's very impressive. The pictures just don't do it justice at all. It's
Are we
hard to
good
get-
for softball and baseball to starting?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we discussed that this morning. There's been a lot of, it's surprising that we've been able to stay on schedule with, there's been delays of everything
Yeah.
across the board, whether from drywall to light fixtures to even paint. It's very hard to even get
Paint's
paint
hard right
right
now.
now. And, the press boxes have been, on those projects, have been the most significant delay. But, we'll definitely be ready for them when practice starts.
What about, those extra that field where the discus is going in? Is that gonna be open back up in time here
Yes,
pretty quick?
yes.
We'll need it pretty quick here. Must be.
They've been working on some drainage issues and making sure that they get the drainage right.
Yeah, it's already tore up on that grass.
When a lot of people working Saturday, so that's
Drainage is a
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely not pointing anything towards softball. It has enough drainage issues around it, but we're working a lot of that out.
Have we finalized or started talking about back road
Yes, sir.
and how that's gonna tie in the front road and all that?
Yes. And I'll bring you an update.
All right. Can't wait for the back road to be done.
We've had a lot of conversations about that, and then we had a lengthy meeting today, discussing the transition into the new main campus building. I've lost many hours of sleep over that, even when we were planning the school. And we always knew it was gonna be a difficult challenge, but, it's one we can certainly meet head on. And, but we presented it, there's several different phases to it. Moving into the new building while the old building's still there, opening up in August, while the old building's still there, because it's still being torn down, and then routing the parents and the buses and actually getting into the school. And then the next phase is reconstructing a different part of the parking lot up by the ninth grade center and TTE. So it's something that we're working through, and it's gonna work out very well. I'm very confident in that. It's just, we work around it, and then at the end of the day, when it's 100% complete, we'll have an awesome project.
So when is the demo of the first part of the high school?
Once school's out, we will immediately begin moving into the new building. And then there's, about 40 days or 45 days, depending on the schedule we work out with getting the asbestos abatement done. We're doing, BISD handling the interior part of it. And then there's, asbestos behind the moisture barrier, behind the brick. And so the contractors will be handling that part of it. And so once that's done is when they can actually start tearing the building down. But when we open, come back in January of '23, the building will be gone and the new parking lots are in and the new stacking lanes in and all of that. And we'll finally be able to see the new building.
It'll take us probably till Christmas to get all that infrastructure built, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot
Site
of,
presence.
underground utility work that has to take place and all once we get the building out of there.
Yeah.
But,
It's a great time to work underground and pour concrete in the fall.
Yeah. That's great.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Do our kids have any idea what's coming? And
Well, I know that the
That's too
existing
late to
students,
answer that.
I know that the existing students, I get a lot of feedback on this, especially the ones that are in the the newer two-story addition, that they don't even close their blinds because they watch the construction activities going on. It's pretty impressive.
I just remember early on, we were seeing some of the architects' kind of virtual future expectation, even with the stairwells and the kind of virtual people walking around. I mean, I want them to be as excited as I am excited.
I think they will be. My entire career, I've always said, there's nothing that makes me happier than, especially opening up an elementary school, watching the little kids come in and they're just so in awe about everything, and it makes it all worthwhile. And, but I think the same thing, this is my first complete high school to build, and I think that it's gonna be just as fascinating to watch the high school kids come in, and I think it's gonna mean a lot for them.
Yeah, it makes sense, Val. Sally has actually included updates of the construction in her newsletters to parents. And so she has done a really good job at communicating with
I don't really
her.
care about them, I'm talking about the kids, the ones who are gonna participate and use it. I want them to be in anticipation of what's coming, as well. I mean, it's great, I'm just excited.
Well, CTE students.
Well, if it's anything like the CT students, that's just a taste of, I really like the tile on the round building.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I think
cool.
that, kids that are in sports programs are gonna be really excited, you know, like tennis and all, because they've never had a place to be.
Oh, yeah, wrestling, I mean, all of it have been
Yeah.
sharing and being moved back and forth
Back and
every couple of
forth.
years, and
I think it's also actually very motivating for them, and also that it's this new environment and they respect it, and you know, kind of theirs.
thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Next item we have on our agenda, under reports, is board and committee reports. Do you have any members who want to share?
Yeah, I'd like to highlight the Gulf Coast meeting where our superintendent participated with some other heavy hitters. There were some heavy hitters. It was very good. Tom Ball just kept talking, didn't get finished. But that's what she does. But anyway, it was good. I think we had a very nice public highlighting of our district, so thank Danny for participating. And I won't pick him again until another year or so.
Thanks for attending.
Or maybe 6 months.
Yeah, I'd like to just congratulate everybody that went in on the planning of the AP Boydell celebration. It was fantastic. It was neat to see families on the side of the road for the parade and everything. I wasn't really expecting that, but there was some excitement. It was good.
It was.
Good job.
I was glad we invited back the old, or former teachers that were there for the 2007 award too as well. So,
Former teacher did find a carpet.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's in front of, like you said, it's in front of the old school.
yeah.
It's not really a board committee report, but we get numbers every week on COVID, and we're down to five active cases for all of our students and staff. Five. There you go. Next on our agenda, yes, sir?
Hang on to Thanksgiving. Keep your fingers
Yeah, we'll see what happens after Thanksgiving. Next on our agenda is, our next meeting is a special board meeting scheduled for December the 7th at 6 o'clock. And then now we have executive session. Executive session may be called for the purposes permitted by the Texans Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Section 551.071 through 551.146. Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. Section 551.071, any agenda item. Section 551.072, for the purpose of discussing the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Section 551.074, personnel matters, appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, dismissal, or complaint. Section 551.082, for the purpose of considering discipline of a public school child or complaint or charge against personnel. We shall return. Thank you all our staff and any community members who are here.
I'm sorry, because I was the president.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're reconvening at 7:53, and unless there are any objections, we will stand adjourned.